ecologically appropriate glamour technology.
Oh, my dear, you really are extraordinary. But I have one question. Now, aren't you afraid of, well, wild animals? Polar bears, for instance?
Oh, bears. Oh, Sybil. Bears are sweet.
Sweet?
Sweet. The only wild animal you have to worry about in the wilderness is white people. But really, the thing you have to remember about bears is that bears hate disco. Ursus horribilis americanus will not be enthralled with your rendition of I Will Survive. In fact, if you do it, you won't. But bears do love lipstick, so you always have to hang your makeup from a tall tree at night in bear country. But bears, you know, the terrible thing is bears are an endangered species, just like harp seals. It's barbaric. They club them over their heads and then skin them alive for their beautiful furs. It's horrid. And some animal rights activists throw red paint on the seals, and that's fine. It saves their lives, but not their beauty. And I say every seal has a natural right to wear its own mink, especially since it grows it itself. So instead of red paint, I throw false eyelashes and one rhinestone earring on them. The sealers won't go near them. Logging? Did I just hear you ask about logging? You can stop a useless timber cutting operation dead in its tracks just by simply driving spikes into the trees. Of course, the problem is, for one thing, it's kind of hard to get the hammer into the little heel space, and two, you can't wear the shoes afterwards. But they won't cut the trees down.
Darling, what you're talking about here, if I may clarify for the more mongoloid in our audience, is really a kind of guerrilla warfare against overdevelopment, sort of a ecological sabotage, if we might say.
Yes, well, you know, our government has been saying for years that it wants a natural resource policy with balls. Well, I want one with tits. So call it anything you want to. Call it ecological sabotage or ecotage. I call it ecotage with decolletage.
Yes, that was lost on our non-French speaking friends, Wanda. And I loved it, darling, so keep it in the act. But Wanda, darling, I'm very concerned. Some of these things sound like they might be a little illegal.
Oh, illegal? Well, yes. But you see, I never actually advise anyone to do any of the stupid illegal things I write about in my book.
Ah.
I just tell them how. For example, if you go out camping in a beautiful natural place and you find the surveyor's lines and stakes for a new trail, or even worse, a road into an unspoiled area where it doesn't need to be, you can pull up the lines and stakes and then put them back in a more aesthetically pleasing position.
Ah.
I favor Art Nouveau myself.
Absolutely, I adore Art Nouveau.
And another thing I would never tell anybody to do is to save up all your old empty hairspray cans, pile them up in a heap at the bottom of Boulder Dam, and then hit them with a 55mm mortar shell. Kablam! Another canyon returned to its natural, pristine state, another river liberated. But I would never tell anybody how to do that. And another thing I would never tell anybody how to do is that since nowadays no intelligent homosexual is sucking down poppers like there's no tomorrow for their liver and they want to tax their immune systems out of business, no, are they? There's this huge backlog of unsold amyl nitrate in all the bars. And I would never, ever give anyone precise, detailed instructions on how to take a bottle of hardware, snip off 5 3/4 inches of an old feather boa, fold the boa over double, give it 3 twists to the right, stick the frazzled end down in the hardware bottle with your pinky, wipe your pinky off, light the boa, count to 3, and then give it a knuckleball pitch right into the crankcase of the next GMC Terex 3000 earth mover you see getting ready to haul off the last stand of virgin timber in North America. No! I would never! I would never tell anyone to do that because Molotov poppers are against the law. Oh, goodness. Look at the time. I must run.
Just a second. You're right, I don't believe it. I could throw away my Cartier watch. You know, that Molotov popper thing is wonderful. Ivan has a year's supply in his bathroom, and he was laughing away. But Wanda, darling, Wanda, I must tell you, you are an extraordinary lady. I have one last question for you. Where are you off to now?
Well, I'm off to Alaska. Yes, I'm off to the North Slope of Alaska. They have opened up the last unprospected strip of coastline in the United States for oil exploration. So there they are, up on the North Shore, tearing up the tundra, dragging in the heavy machinery that it takes to dig up the oil that it takes to run the heavy machinery that it takes to dig up the oil that it takes to run the heavy machinery that it takes to dig up the oil. I mean, it sounds like the needle got stuck, doesn't it?
Yes, darling.
And this just happens to be the home range of the last free-living herd of caribou in Alaska. The very last one. So I'm off to Alaska. I'm going to do the caribou in Marabou. Goodbye. Thank you so much.